Hi, I'm Sam Candy. Welcome to Sustain Talks. Today I'm joined by Chloe Sweden, founder and CEO of Lowr, a company that incentivizes employees to lower their carbon footprint. I met Chloe, I think it was about a year ago at a sustainability event, and we've been talking for ages and meaning to get this conversation in. I'm so glad that we're here now. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yes, everything's good this side of the fence. But no, really lovely to talk to you again today. And yeah, just great to have a
Good.
chat.
Right, well, let's find out a bit more about Lowr. I'm excited to share this with my listeners. Tell us a little bit more about how you got started and what it is and what you do.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So we started the business actually during the pandemic. That feels like that was the last 5 years of our life. And really the focus was thinking about actually how you can reduce your meat and dairy consumption down and have a more positive impact both on yourself but on the planet. And actually what we've done since then is really expand out to think about sustainability as a wider piece. My background is I was a head of talent and culture and always really passionate about the employee piece. So how do we actually get employees to live a healthier, more sustainable life? And that's really where we are now. We are Lowr. And as you said, we inform and we inspire and we incentivize employees to really lower their environmental impact.
And how does that work? How do you do that?
Yeah, so we try and be as globally scalable as possible because actually a lot of our clients, they might have 1,000 employees in the UK, but then they've got 200 in France, 200 in Poland. Then we've had people say, what's your offering in South Korea? What have you got in Namibia? So for us, it's really, really important that we can deliver that solution globally. So it runs as an app. The desktop is launching this week as well. So it's completely remote, completely global offering. And essentially employees go on and they can interact with content, they can collect points. It's all completely gamified. So the idea is it's behavior change technology that underpins the interactions that employees make on the platform. So really what we're trying to do is help them understand the things that they can do to live a more sustainable life.
And that's in everything. So how they live, how they work, how they buy stuff, everything really.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we try and do, I think it's really important that you think about every touch point. This is not just an employee where they work, right? Because actually companies do quite a good job of recycling and, thinking about sustainability maybe within the office. But actually, if you think about remote and hybrid working, if you think about what an employee is eating on a daily basis, actually, or the things that they're consuming in their homes a lot of the time, or the way in which they're traveling, actually there's a huge amount of, we talk about sort of companies thinking, okay, well, actually, I've looked at my supply chain, I've looked at my raw material costs, but actually, if I've not looked at my people as walking, talking carbon emitters, I probably haven't done as much as I possibly can. So yeah, so we really think about, okay, how can we sort of inform, inspire and incentivize across travel, for example, whether that's you taking a trip with your family, a personal trip or business travel. Actually, what are the things that you can do to make that trip a little bit more sustainable? So we offer kind of quizzes through content, and we also have a huge amount on recipes as well. So how can you lower your carbon footprint by actually making more sustainable choices through food and through drinks? So we've got really great low cost, easy recipes. There's none of this sort of like, I need to go and buy star anise from some random place. So we try and make them like really cost efficient, really easy and accessible. And we also do challenges on the platform so that you can log a challenge every single day. So again, just finding those inspiring things that you can do that make it easy to make changes within your life. I think the bit that most people know us for as well is the discounts of sustainable products and services. So we offer a lot of freebies and a lot of discounts. So actually, if you thought, actually, I would like to make changes. I look in my bathroom and actually there's so much plastic. I'd like to make some changes, but I'm a bit scared to go and like spend a lot of money on a shampoo bar and I don't know if it's going to work. We offer kind of freebies that come through the post. Or discounts where you can walk into Tesco, for example, scan a barcode from our product, and you can walk out with a free lunch every week through Lowr. So
Oh,
we're
wow.
trying to kind of make it really accessible for employees to just live a little bit more differently, live a little bit more sustainably. These aren't huge changes that you need to make, just introducing, dipping your toe into the water, or if you're a little bit further along that journey, just helping you explore new opportunities.
I love that whole education piece. And actually, when we go into companies and do training, we always find that everyone's like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's
Yeah.
really interesting. And having that and that gamification on the app that teaches people and just gets them to think a little bit more about how they're living their life and what,
Yeah.
like as you say, the little changes that you can make. I think that's really great. You're on a bit of a mission. What's your mission?
Yeah, so our mission is to get 10 million employees to live healthier, more sustainable lives, and that's never changed. We've always been kind of like very mission driven, and yeah, and I think you can't force people, you can't bash people over the head when it comes to these things. And when you look, when you look at how to implement behaviour change, for us, I think a lot of people stop short at the inform piece. If we're so mission driven to get people to embrace that lifestyle, that you're not going to ever just scare people into making these changes. You have to do the inform and the inspire piece as well. We do a fact of the day on our platform every day. That's actually my favorite bit, and I'm on it every day going, oh, I didn't know that, oh, I didn't know that. And things like, so, and that's where that kind of, again, not just bashing people about the head, making them feel bad about things, but like on Valentine's Day, we did like a Valentine's Day fact, which was about wastage. And same with Easter coming up, we're thinking about actually how does Easter impact globally in terms of thinking about reduction and in terms of waste. So again, thinking about things that might crop up. Of course, we've got like World Wetland Day and, World Earth Day and Earth Hour that we try and kind of, again, shine a light on. But it's also those other things as well, where we're not just kind of going, you should feel awful for using a plastic bottle. It's actually, okay, well, actually, what does biodegradable mean? What does what is so bad about plastic? When should you recycle? When should you not recycle? So so that all of those things for us help with the mission, which is to affect as many people as possible.
That's great. And like for this, I mean, it fits very well also into CSR and engagement with employees, and it must do a lot for how do companies really use this to engage their employees?
Yeah, absolutely. So engagement is kind of like our thing. So we
Yeah.
call ourselves an engagement tool, and we're trying to help companies to really disseminate their own sustainability information as well. So we're making some updates to the platform at the moment so that companies are able to take their, the great things that they're doing and disseminate that information through the product. So whether it's like, here's the marketing team doing litter picking or a beach cleanup, or did you know we hit our net zero target in this factory this month? All of those things are actually to be able to engage employees, and in a way that they care, rather than it just being in a long newsletter or in a stand-up meeting once, actually like making sure that it's embedded. The other thing that we're doing through our platform soon is the ability for employees to look at their own carbon footprint vis-a-vis the company's average as well. So again, being able to see, actually, this is what my impact is. This is what my impact is versus my company, and what my impact is versus the country. And also to be able to see, therefore, what your impact is by using the app and being able to engage through it, showing actually tangibly the impact that you're making. So that's something that's really going to help in terms of employee engagement. We've also got some really fun things coming down the pipeline, which I don't know if I should tell you about. But
I should say, go on, you have to.
But things that are going to really help companies really think about that. Really, sustainability is such a broad topic, and especially when it impacts employees, like we said, it's not just something that when you're sitting at your desk you need to think about. So we've got some really exciting things coming down the pipeline that are going to be engaging employees in the broadest possible sense. And when we talk about employees, I think we've got to remember it could be somebody who works in IT or a dev who's sitting at their laptop all day long on like 3 screens. It could be somebody who is restocking shelves in retail at midnight and then going home to, you know, 3 children. You know, we're talking about a very, very wide base of, when we think about our target audience, our end user is so varied and so different. And so for us, our product has to work really hard to engage a very, very broad demographic, let alone not just a broad demographic of users, but also people who are on different stages of their sustainability journey. So actually, even within that demographic, you could have a huge, broad kind of ideological base as well. And that's something that we try and take really seriously in terms of creating content and engagement and products within the app that actually engage across that whole subsector.
So is engagement quite high then when you work with a company, do you find?
Absolutely. I mean, that's literally like our KPI, right? Like that's what my team's KPI is, like engagement. That's the only thing that we kind of like really care about. Because if people are engaging in the app, then they're making changes to their lifestyle. So we see phenomenally high engagement. We've got people that are logging on for like 72, I think 75-day streaks is kind of like the longest we've got at the moment. So every day we've got people coming on, because we collect points. We've got what we call the rise of the super user. So we've got kind of people who are really trying to get over 100 points every month. If you get over 100 points, you get put into the sustainable grand prize draw, where you can win really great products and services. So we had a pair of sustainable sunglasses that were worth over £150 last month. This month, we've got a month's supply of meat-free meat. So as long as someone's got a big enough freezer, or they can hand it out to their family, they'll be able to take on that prize as well. So we have really kind of, again, varied kind of prizes, through to kind of sustainable clothing we had for Mother's Day as well. So we really try and pick things that lots of different people are going to be engaged with. But yeah, so we see people, again, we saw like a huge spike in our recipes at Christmas Day, where actually everyone was kind of going, oh, I want to, I'd like my Christmas Day to be a little bit more sustainable. How can I actually make some meat-free options? So it's lovely to be able to watch sort of how employees really engage with the product.
Yeah, and I love hearing how it is going to develop. We recently did some consulting with a client, and they were looking at the footprint of their employees' commute. And actually, when you start looking at these looking at your employees' footprint, and especially with it being related to work as well, it all comes in under their plan to get to net zero, is helping their employees to become more sustainable. Do you think though that I live and breathe sustainability every single day, so I'm very aware my algorithms just throw sustainability at me, but do you think then for the average employee, and looking at the percentage of employees that are engaging with the app, that people are sustainability conscious? Your everyday person,
No.
You don't?
No, I don't think they are at all. Certainly for us, I think we see such a broad spectrum. So to say no is, I guess, a bit extreme. But ultimately, don't be. But I mean, ultimately, we're launching into companies of 3, 5, 10,000 employees. Of that, demographic, you are not going to find people that on a daily basis. Like, people have got a lot going on. Like, there is a cost of living crisis going on. There's huge pressures on everyone at the moment. Sustainability isn't the top of everybody's agenda when we're talking about average employees who work in very, very different environments. So I would say no, that an average employee isn't that engaged. And that's why for us, we talk about being very non-judgmental, very supportive, very, very light touch. We talk about being carrot, not stick. And this is all about being able to sort of if someone came on the platform and they just came on to get their free box of pasta or their free lunch every week, I'm happy with that, because ultimately they've engaged in something. They've had something which was stepped out of their comfort zone. Like, we need to think about, kind of like, for us, this is well within our comfort zone to use shampoo bars rather than shampoo, or bamboo toothbrushes, or make sustainable swaps, essentially, to reduce meat and dairy for the planet. This is not something that most average employees want to do or will embrace immediately, but it is a journey. And that's why we exist, because companies have struggled to do that engagement piece. So 96% of global leaders agree that actually they need to get their employees engaged in order to hit their targets, right? So they've got these lofty targets up here, but there's no communication going on down here. And if you think about, there's a general kind of like lack of like engagement around sustainability anyway, then when kind of like the company goes, well, we need to work harder to hit this net zero target, and the employees are going, well, why? Like, I just, why, what's in it for me, kind of thing. Not in a bad way, it's just everyone has a lot going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why for us, we really, for us, it's really about that inspire and incentivize piece. The inform piece is super important, but the inspire and incentivize to actually really help motivate behavior change at that level. When we're assuming a very low base, of course, we have users on our platform who are highly engaged. We have users on our platform who don't eat meat and dairy, who are coming on because they want to get even more inspiration on the recipes, who want to be able to access new products and services, who are actively making sustainable swaps for their life on a daily basis. We also have people using our platform for whom they're dipping the toe in the waters. They're still potentially quite skeptical. They want to understand what it means for them. And that's fine too. Like for us, we're as much for the first group as we are for the second group. The second group for us is super important, because that's the only way we're going to have really systemic change to society, is if we actually help those people that are just slightly curious, like not even more than that, like just like, yeah, maybe just to start making those changes. Like even just having your free lunch, you've had a plant-based, planet-friendly, sustainable B Corp lunch for the first time ever. Like you might always be a McDonald's burger person for lunch. Like every day you might just have a burger, or you might just go and have your chicken sandwich from Boots or whatever it might be. So if even made that change to be eating something that doesn't contain meat in it is a huge step. We shouldn't underestimate how important that is for somebody who has never, ever, ever dipped their toe or looked that way. So for us, we're really for that. Absolutely our product and our Lowr is absolutely for those that want to kind of take it to the next step and the next step and the next step, and we are we can really help that type of employee as well. But I would say that for us, that average employee that just is struggling with everything at the moment, because we all are, just to make those small changes, that's what we're there for as well.
I love that so much. I did a post the other week, because I if I look back at who I was 5 years ago to who I am now, I was working for a large corporate company. I was traveling for business all the time. I wasn't thinking about my carbon footprint. I was eating meat 5-6 times a week. And now I'm the complete opposite. I never fly. I rarely. I do eat meat, but I call myself a flexitarian.
Yeah.
And I did a post the other day about a plant burger, and I couldn't tell the difference between the meat and the plant burger, and it just like, I think that sort of getting people to try things, and and that's all I'm trying to do. Is if everybody in the world was a little bit more sustainable, we wouldn't be in the problem that we're in right now. We wouldn't be in the crisis that we're in right now. If everyone just made a little bit more conscious decisions, didn't buy as much, and was careful about what they bought. So I love that edge. And actually I really like skeptics as well.
Yeah.
When we do training, we always have people, the second they walk in, they're like, no, I don't believe any of it.
You can spot them a mile off.
They're
the body language is
the
heckles are right.
But then by the end you see them turning, and I had an email the other day where someone said, actually that was really good. And I was like,
and that's why we love bringing our partners down into our clients' offices and like cooking up some food for them. And just because again, food is such a leveler, food is such a good way in. Everyone loves everyone loves food, right? Everyone loves eating. And so to be able to actually give them something and go, you know what, actually this is just, this will use less water, it's cheaper, and also it's more sustainable, doesn't come in plastic packaging, and no animal's been killed for it, so therefore no land has been used, grazing, etc. And so that is, you know, just having those conversations with people through food is a great way to get those skeptics to just go, oh, well, I never thought I'd see a day where I would eat a chicken nugget that didn't have chicken in it, you know, and just then be able to open those conversations. And I think we live in this kind of like bubble where it's really like, of course you'd have a couple of plant, you know, alternatives in a week. You know, let's be 100% clear, the 99.999% of the population are not doing that still.
Yeah.
You know, that's not something that's really going through their minds. Actually, if it's 2 for £4 on chicken breast steaks, you know, I'm going to pick that up. So what we're trying to do is also with our partners really to mitigate against that sort of like the green tax. So things being slightly more expensive if they are more sustainable, to be able to make them more affordable, and to make them an easier choice. When costs are spiraling all around us, it's much harder to make the better choices. And what we're trying to do is really mitigate against those things as well. So that's why we use that. But I love the skeptics. I love bringing people along that journey, but I don't expect, you know, I think this is why we exist. We do not expect wholesale change overnight. Companies really struggle to kind of do that engagement piece on an ongoing basis. They might do 1 or 2 kind of like good events or good talks during a year, but what we talk about is being that constant drumbeat that actually somebody is able to kind of engage with. And that for us is important, like whether you're sitting on a loo, whether you're on the bus, you know, whether you're talking to your mates, you might just have something that's just sort of like triggered something or inspired you to just think differently. Like we had a challenge on last month, which was the put a lid on it challenge. So just the ability to just make sure that every time you cook on the hob with a pan, just put a lid on it. It reduces your water usage, it reduces your heating bills, your gas bills, and it will also reduce CO2 overall because you use less energy to heat that water. It's just a simple thing. But just by doing it, trust me, the next time you go, even if you're not taking part in the challenge anymore, so it's a 1-month challenge you do every day, in just next month, you will think, when you put that pan of water to boil, you will think about putting a lid on it. You just will, because that's behavior change. That's the nudge theory that sits behind what we do. And so that for me is the simple things that anybody could do. This month's challenge is to challenge everybody to not buy any new clothes this month. So 1 month of not purchasing anything new. And that's quite hard for a lot of people.
But it used to be for me.
Absolutely.
Like, again, I look back then, it was really, really difficult. Now it's like, it's not going to happen from month to month to month, you know. I'm just more careful about it, but that only comes from the understanding and where products come from. And I'd rather buy one thing that was gonna last forever and more quality and spend a little more than keep buying rubbish all the time, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, my house is full of secondhand everything. You know, we try and where possible, but from a cost perspective, but also from a waste perspective, like it just it absolutely it kills me. And again, even if somebody doesn't so even if, you know, if nobody can get through the whole month, if somebody can't get through the whole month because for whatever reason, at least then when they do go and buy something, they're a little bit more conscious, right? Or if they actually would have bought 3 or 4 items, they actually may buy 1 or 2. So again, it's just that behavior change. It's just making people just think that little bit more clearly just about what's going to make a difference. And I think we need to realize that, you know, obviously the way in for us as employees, we've actually just expanded out to fans and customers, because a lot of our clients are saying this is great for our people, but actually we would really, really like to be able to influence like fans. So whether we're a football club or a rugby club or a music venue, it would be great to be able to help the people that are coming to us to be able to be more sustainable. So we are starting to help sporting clubs and other, I can't really talk about it, but other sporting kind of opportunities that are out there, and music and customers as well, to really live healthier, more sustainable lives. It's not just about employees now, actually, and we're white labeling that for the clubs, so it will be branded up as their offering to their people, essentially. So we're sort of really thinking about, okay, well, actually, what's this sort of ripple effect that we can have within a community? And like sporting clubs are really within a community, just like a business is.
Yeah.
So really like thinking about, okay, well, actually you have a kind of community and a network that operates quite similarly to an office or a company or an environment where actually you are bound together by something, right? So I'm a Diageo employee, I'm a Manchester United fan, there's sort of like these sort of communities that you live within. So that's the sort of next piece that's coming down the pipeline for us as well. I mean, there's lots coming down the pipeline for us. One of the pieces that's coming down the pipeline for us as well. And again, that gives us the ability to talk to fans who care so passionately about their clubs. But also those clubs have got net zero targets. The companies for their customers have got net zero targets. So how can they actually start to influence a little bit further and wider? And let's be honest, it's not going to come from government. I think it's very clear that it's not, we're not going to see the types of wholesale changes that we thought we were going to from government. And so from an individual perspective, although it's not that it's all on us individually to make changes, if we do make small changes to our own lives, it will start to change the way we behave at work, the way we start to think about other things. Sorry, my dog just wants to say hello. Hello. And start to think about different things that we can do. So we remain constantly hopeful and optimistic about the future and about what we can do.
Honestly, I just think it's brilliant, and it is so as you say, I think the educational piece, like I always feel with sustainability, I don't want to push it down people's necks, but I just want to bring them on a bit of a journey by trying to educate them a little bit. And it's the same kind of journey that I've been on, really, and getting people to make changes, and eventually you make more and more and more changes. But I do think that we are really, really going to be dependent on business to deliver net zero, because, as you say, it's just not going to work. The government are not going to make bold enough changes. You mentioned earlier the cost of living, something that I just worry about for so many people all the time. I listen to the radio and I hear how much people are struggling. And I guess in work and in business, you don't often know if your employees are struggling. You don't have those open conversations. So something like this, I guess, can help with employees with the cost of living as well.
Absolutely. I mean, in terms of things like the recipes that we offer, kind of a chickpea curry, tin of chickpeas is, I think, 54p, bit of coconut milk, potentially tinned tomatoes if you want it a bit tomatoey, a packet of lentils is so much cheaper and goes so much further and freezes, much, much better for your wallet, for the environment. There's so many endless opportunities. And again, I always think about the reduction of meat and dairy in particular. Meat goes off, and if it goes off, it's really bad if it goes off. Vegetables go off in a much, much longer time frame, and actually don't really hurt you if if you eat something that's slightly beyond its best. So actually being able to extend the life of the food in your fridge as well is something that, again, people take for granted. But food waste is such a huge issue for us as well. So absolutely, that's thinking about food waste, thinking about waste in general, and just reducing both your spending, but also, like you said, buying better, buying more consciously, so that actually, even if it is slightly more expensive at the start, actually you've got something that will last you significantly longer and be less damaging. But also other ways in which you can cut down on your bills as well, right? So we're thinking about how do you we had a challenge which was turn things off at the plug point, right? Like we're all so terrible at just putting things on standby at home, and that energy that's kind of that's built up. I remember one day years and years ago, we had no heating in the house, but we have like a small room where our computers and laptops were, and we were all huddled in there because, of course, there's the heat that was coming off these things. And it's terrible. It's absolutely awful. So again,
electric blanket.
Well done. Yeah, exactly. And
Or
it
pence.
right, absolutely. And so again, it's about making those small incremental changes that can absolutely help from a cost of living perspective as well. We're
Yeah.
very, very conscious that we're not just talking to Tarquin on his Peloton in Canary Wharf. We are talking to, I'm sure Tarquin's lovely.
Bless Tarquin.
Bless him. But we are absolutely talking to people who have got families, who are, who are the squeeze middle, who are just starting out in their careers, who are struggling, and we want to absolutely help them too.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm so sold on this. I'm literally like, I want to sign up. I'm a small business. Does it work for small business? I know you obviously, you work with a lot of very large companies, but can small businesses sign up too?
Yeah, they can. We've got companies as small as 4 people on
Oh,
our list, and companies as large as 5, 10, 15,000. So
yeah,
so it can work, absolutely. I think we find that if somebody really wants to introduce it, then that's all you need. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
You just need a champion within the business. And yeah, absolutely, the smaller companies really love the free lunch and the discounts and stuff like that, because it really helps them from a cost of living perspective for their employees.
yeah.
And then the bigger companies really love the leaderboard and the ability to kind of like do that kind of more competitive gamification through the platform and disseminating information, which obviously in a small business you don't necessarily need to do. But for sure, companies of all sizes can benefit from having this sort of more constant drumbeat and help and support for employees to go on that sustainability journey.
It's good for morale, isn't it? It's good for like engagement, morale, makes people has conversations. If you're sitting next to your colleague and you're like, "Have you seen this on the app?" Or
Absolutely.
it
And
must
that's why I love the fact of the day. For me, that's that piece that's that kind of like water cooler moment. Do you know what I mean? You're sort of like, did you know that 3 tons of Valentine's cards go to landfill every year? That's why you didn't get one this year. So there's lots to there's lots to engage and to talk about.
Oh, it's honestly, I'm so excited for you and for the business, and I'm really, really inspired by you. What's next then? Well, you said there's a few things
Can't reveal.
can't say.
I really want to actually, but yeah, just in case my
We'll do this
competitors are
again.
listening. Yeah, exactly. We'll do this again, and I'll do the kind of the things that are coming. There are some really, really exciting things coming, and we really listen to clients as well. So things within, when I say, I don't know, things within I guess waste, so thinking about how you can reduce waste more, things within volunteering, so really thinking about the wider ESG piece. So really helping to engage on the sort of the volunteering side of things as well. We're giving users more choice, so we currently plant a tree for every 100 points that a user collects, and now we're going to be giving more choice as to whether you want to plant a tree or whether you want to do something else with that, because tree planting is not for everybody. So we're just some exciting stuff coming down the pipeline that just, again, more ways to engage, more ways to collect points, more ways to kind of be competitive with your colleagues. Just exciting stuff. And obviously we did rebrand quite recently to Lowr, and really kind of doubling down on what Lowr means, lower waste, lower carbon footprint, lower environmental impact. So kind of really leaning into that as our brand, and thinking about what that means and how that lives and breathes.
Oh, that's brilliant. Honestly, I'm so thrilled we finally got to have this conversation. I can't wait to share it. And I really, really wish you every success in the world, because I think you're doing something remarkable, and that engagement piece with employees. Let's hope the next time that we speak, you tell me more stories about the average employer, that they are interested in sustainability. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful day. I really, really appreciate this conversation.
Thank you, Sam.
All right.